AITA for telling my sister's fiancé that she is infertile? I will try to keep this as simple as possible. My 26M sister Emma 29F was very sick in high school. Her choice was either to die young or be able to conceive children. It was a hard decision for her, and she doesn't like to talk about it. She has been dating Adam 29M for about 6 years and he is really nice. The whole family loves him. He proposed to her last year, and they were planning to marry in March next year. But here is the problem. Adam really wants children. He always plays around with our little cousins at family events and talks about what he wants to do and teach his future children. We always thought that they were just going to be adopting, so we never brought it up. But since the engagement, I have noticed that he always talks about them as their children, as in biological. I don't know how to explain it, but it didn't seem like they were going to adopt a child. After thinking about it for a while, I decided to talk with Emma about it. I asked her out, and gently brought up the topic. She did seem a bit angry about me mentioning it, but she explained to me that Adam treats adoption the same as giving birth and that he is happy all the same. It sounded believed, but I know my sister, she was lying. During the entire conversation, she could not look me in the eye. After a month, I finally decided to talk to Adam. This Sunday we were gathered at my parents' house for dinner, and while everyone was busy and we were alone, I asked Adam how the adoption proceedings were going. Were they going to start now or after they got married? He looked surprised, and asked me what I was talking about. I mentioned how he wants many kids, so they should probably be starting with the whole process early. He asked me if Emma wants to adopt a child because they had never talked about it. Since my parents were coming back, I asked him to talk to me later. Around the end of dinner, I asked him for some help with my phone and lead him to the balcony, and I was honest with him. I asked him if he knew that Emma can have children. At first he thought I was joking, but when he saw that I was serious, he got this dead look on his face. I told him some of the details and said that it would probably be best if he talked with Emma for the full story. He was quiet for the rest of the evening. When they got how they apparently got in a major fight. I know that he is currently staying with friends and asked for the ring back, but nothing else. Emma hates me. And our parents are mostly on her side and think that I shouldn't have said anything. I thought I was doing the right thing. This is such a huge secret to keep from your future partner, but maybe it really wasn't my place to say anything. Now for the next story. AITA for switching up on my best friend? Okay, for starters, I live in a small town, and everybody here is well known. Okay, so this is back from a while ago. So I was around 14 to 15 and I had this best friend I had met in 6th grade. Let's call her Mac. We didn't instantly get along, and we were just in the same friend group. A year passed and our friend group fell off, but me and Mac started getting along. Things were just right with us. We would tell each other everything, sleep OTP, and we were just really comfortable with each other. Me and Mac went to this game with her little sister and her ex-BSF. Let's call her ex-BSF Clara and her sister Callie. Her and Clara were most definitely not on good terms. Aside from that, but I come from a big-ass Mexican family, so I don't even know half of my relatives. I come to find out that Clara is my cousin? But Mac would always talk shit about her, and I didn't say anything because I didn't know Clara like that. Time skip about a year later, I had my first real BF. Mac was the one who set me up with him too. Me and him broke up around 6 months later, and almost 8 months after I come to find out Mac is talking shit about me, and it all started because of my ex. She started bringing up really personal things Eve only told her. I don't really want to get into the details, but I've been to a grippy sock jail twice, and she told him I went 6 times and I was crazy, and that I was a slut. Like, what the fuck? That's not even all, but I can't say that on here. I started talking to Clara now, and she's telling me all the horrible things she said about me, and I was still her friend ADP because I literally didn't have noon else. I started telling my other cousin about all of this, and we were all talking shit about her. I mean, she was the one actually insane. She got pregnant, she lied about her having BPD, her doing the nasty with people and just straight lying out of her ass about me and Clara. Now I don't FW her, but she thinks I do and am talking to a guy who dumped her for me. Or so she said. He showed me proof they weren't even talking. All my cousins want to jump her, and I don't really feel guilty, but I do at the same time. Am I the asshole? Next story. AITA for refusing to pay a neighborhood kid for cutting my lawn when I didn't ask him to? I, 29M, recently bought my first house. I'm settling in and like the neighborhood, and a few neighbors even came by to say hello. They included a woman, 43F, and her 13-year-old son. Not long after, I was on my couch one afternoon and saw the son outside, mowing my front lawn. I was confused, since I'd never asked him to and he never offered. I went out and politely asked him why he was doing it. He said he did it for lots of neighbors, and quickly added they give him $5 for it. I found it really weird, so thanked him for the partial work he'd done, before explaining that since I hadn't asked or wanted him to do it, I wasn't going to be paying him. He said okay, and quietly left my lawn. I figured that might be the end of it, just a kid trying to make some money, resolved with no harm done, end of story. But the next day his mom arrived on my doorstep and angrily asked me why I hadn't paid her son. I basically repeated what I'd said to her son, but she wouldn't accept it. She just kept saying that it was a kind gesture, and that he does it for all the other neighbors. She also said $5 isn't a lot of money, and I could have just gave it to him. I kept trying to explain that an agreement like that needs to be set up ahead of time, otherwise it's nothing more than a random demand for money, but she basically tuned me out and ended up walking away as I was talking. I was amazed the adult in this situation was handling it worse than the literal child was. I'm wondering how much longer this will go on for. That was last week. Every time I've seen her since, she's stared daggers at me or made a show of crossing the street to avoid me. I'm not instigating anything further. I really have no desire to speak to her, but I'm thinking she might try to send her poor kid back to collect the money, or even mow the lawn again. I've vented about this to family and friends, and while most seemed to agree with me, some said I should have been grateful and paid the boy, and just told them from then on not to mow the lawn. I can't tell if I've been an ass here, or if my reaction to the whole thing was entirely justified. Comment 1. NTA. Not only are you exempt from any obligation of payment here, but what's happening, albeit at a very small scale for a measly $5, is likely against the law. Yes, it sounds ridiculous to bring legality into it over a mere $5, but there are a number of parallel situations I can think of that would make this very legally questionable. Such as when a retailer accidentally sends you goods you did not order or request, it is illegal for them to charge you for it. Or imagine if a lawn care business did such a thing, charging you $500 instead of $5 under the guise of being a service of the HOA, but it was never expressed in writing or agreed upon. She's raising a little scam artist is what she's doing. Comment 2. NTA. But this reminds me of the episode of Friends when Ross moves into the new building and doesn't want to chip in for the going away present for the janitor that just moved in. Ross is absolutely right in principle, but the end result is all his neighbors think he's cheap and dislike him. Yes, the kid should not have cut your lawn without permission. Maybe he's used to all the neighbors agreeing to it, so he just assumed you would too. I mean, $5 for cutting a lawn is a good deal. If I were you, I would have given the $5 to him as a kind gesture, but then ask he not cut your lawn going forward. If it was me, I would jump at $5 to get my lawn cut, but I hate yard work. Comment 3. Your NTA. It's a version of people running up to your car and wiping the windshield for money before you can tell them, no. I wonder why the mother didn't just have her son offer the lawn mowing instead. I'm perfectly capable of cutting my own lawn. I bought a riding mower just for that. But one summer a young man knocked on my door and offered to cut my grass for $25. He explained he was trying to make money during the summer so he could buy clothes and stuff for school at the end of summer. Considering that I accepted, thinking he meant just my front lawn. After a while I went outside with a bottle of water for him, it gets crazy hot and humid here, and found he had opened my gate and mowed the backyard too. And my backyard is pretty large with little to no shade. I was impressed, so I paid him $40 and told him to come back in 2 weeks. Kid cut my grass all that summer. I hope he great school year, he was good kid. Comment 4. Nope. NTA. I have neighbors who have young kids who have a dog walking service. Once my dad, who's in his 80s, was out walking the dog, and these little girls came up to him saying he looked tired and they could help walking his dog. He thought it was a bit strange, but okay, nice neighbors. Then they said I owed them $20 for the walk. LOL, nope. Then Dad came over to figure out why I wouldn't pay, and was super annoyed that I wouldn't. Sorry dude, I support local businesses as much as I can, but I do not pay extortion fees. Politely told him to get off my property and not pull that crap with me again. Had a few neighbors look at me kinda sideways after that, but I just kill them with kindness to combat it. At least if they're gonna be mad at me, they'll also now feel confused. Thank you for watching! If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more content. See you in the next one.